Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Delaney, and for today's video we are going to be ranking my drugstore highlighters. Samantha March does a lot of ranking videos on her channel. She just did a ranking of skin tints. I was watching that and I was like, oh my gosh, what is my favorite category? Highlighters. And I have so many highlighters, I don't think I was going to be able to fit all of them in one ranking, so I decided to separate them. This is my drugstore affordable highlighters ranking video. So if you've seen my highlighter collection video, which I will be putting up in the cards, I have a declutter as well. So you will see a little mini review of each in there, but these are my all-time favorite drugstore highlighters that have remained in my collection. So if you are interested to see which ones were the best and which ones were then keep on watching. I have a total of 15 highlighters to talk about in today's video, ranging from just okay to oh my god, this is almost as good if not better than a luxury highlighter. Starting with number 15, I have two little palettes here and they are the same formula, so I decided to lump them together. These are from e.l.f. and these are the bite-size face palettes, but their highlighter formula in these palettes is not my favorite. I have coconut and I have watermelon in the two bite-sized face palettes. There are some highlighter formulas from e.l.f. that I do enjoy, and you will see one of those later on in the video. But as far as these go, they're just really dry, really crumbly. You can build it up, but it does not have the same impact as a lot of the other highlighters in my collection. So they're not my favorite. Plus the shades that they have in these face palettes, there's not really a lot that are light enough for me. This one is probably the closest. This is in the watermelon face palette, and I could almost use that as a blush topper, but it does kind of look light enough that I can get away with it as a highlight as well, but it's almost too dark. And this one is definitely too dark as a highlight for me. Like, I like it okay enough to keep in my collection, obviously, but not my favorite. So sorry, e.l.f. I do have another one later in this video though. Next up, we have from LA Colors, and this I actually got at the dollar store. This is a highlight in shade Glow Time from LA Colors. The packaging is very interesting actually, very cheap, it's plastic, whatever. It was $1, great, awesome. Very thin and compact though, which is really kind of nice. And I've dropped this a few times and it hasn't shattered, so I am very impressed with that. But the actual formula of the highlight is not as smooth as I want it to be. It does feel a little bit dry, but if you build it up on the cheeks, it actually has a really nice effect, as you can see here. And it actually doesn't really have any glitter in it at all. It's not the best highlighter ever, but I like having it in my collection because it was $1 and you can get a pretty look from it, but definitely does not have the same effect as other highlighters in my collection. The only reason it's ranked above the e.l.f. bite-sized ones is because of the shade. The shade actually does work for me, and it has no glitter in it, so it actually ends up looking okay on my face, but it's a very subtle highlight. But the e.l.f. bite-sized ones, I just never reach for. So that's why it is a little bit higher than the e.l.f. one. Next up is the Revolution Makeup, or Makeup Revolution. This is their Vivid Shimmer Brick in shade Radiant. And I do love that this has so many different shades in one. I actually got this for free when Ulta was having an event. So I mean, that's good, right? But at the same time, it's not something that I reach for all too often, but I do like keeping it in my collection because this is my only Makeup Revolution highlighter. And the reason it's so far down on the list is because I can only use these two shades. But it is a pretty shade and you can get a pretty look from it. It's just kind of dry, kind of crumbly, and not my favorite, but you can get a pretty look from it. So, it's kind of just okay. But in my collection, I have so many that I love. Just okay does not really cut it. And at number 12, we have the Covergirl True Blend Super Stunner, and this is in shade Pearl Crush. This is a really, really beautiful highlight. It almost has a kind of Super Shock kind of feel to it. It's definitely not as glittery, I would say, as the Super Shocks, and it's not as intense as the Super Shock from Colourpop either, but it has a really nice pearlescent look on the face. I mean, I like it. It's a hair too dark for me though, so that's why it's not really my favorite, but it's still really, it's still good. it's not really, really good, but it's still good. And I can get a beautiful look from it. So yeah, I feel like that's what I could say about a lot of these highlighters is I can get a good look out of them, but they're just not my favorite for whatever reason. Number 11, we have the Pixi highlighter formula. These are the 2 nuance quartets. I actually received these in PR. I don't dislike them, but I also don't think they're the best highlight in the world. Now, I do have 2 different shades of these palettes. This one is in Sugar Blossom, and here's what the inside looks like. So you do get some blushes and some highlights, and of course, we're just going to be talking about the highlighter formula today. They're really pretty. They're just a little bit on the dry side for the formula, but they actually do look beautiful on the face. I mean, they are really reflective and gorgeous and not really super glittery, which I really like. But here is the one I use most often. This is in Honey Nectar, and as you can see, this one has a pretty decent pan. Well, not pan, but you can see where the brush really dug into there because this is my most used shade. I really like it. I also really like it as a blush topper as well. The gold shade is just a hair too dark, but I can still get away with it, but mixing the 2 makes a perfect shade for me for a highlight. It's kind of like a pinky champagne mix at that point, but I do like it. I just wish it was a little bit smoother. Now, I do know that there's I think it's called a glowy gossamer duo. I have not tried that from Pixi, but I have heard in a lot of people's collection videos that they really, really love that and that it's like a completely different formula than this. So maybe I'll have to try that eventually. I've been trying to look for it, but I can't ever find it at Target. So I can't find it at Ulta either. I'm just not sure. Am I meant to try it? Who knows? But I do like these palettes. I actually really love the blushes in here. So I'm not ranking the blushes. The blushes would be a completely different spot in my ranking video than the highlights. At number 10, we have Miss Elf. So this one is a lot better, by far, so much better than the Bite Size highlighter formula. I don't know why, but this one is so much better. So this was part of their Retro Paradise collection. This is their multi-dimensional face and body shimmer, and I have used this on the face and body, and I still really, really love it. I will say though that this formula is glittery. It's intensely glittered. Or this has an intense glitter to it. So if you are not looking for a glittery highlight, this is not for you. I personally love it. I will be showing obviously swatches, but look at this. It almost has a duochrome kind of effect to it. It has like this white to yellow, like a pale yellow gold. I really do love it. It almost looks wet on the skin, but it does have like thicker glitter in it. So if you do not like the look of visible glitter in your highlights, steer clear. And this on the body, especially on the shoulders and the chest in the summertime, is gorgeous. This comes in number 10 for a reason, because here on out, I mean, these highlighters are phenomenal. Like, pretty comparable to luxury after this one. Like, I really love all of them. Now at number 9, we have one that's kind of drugstore, but kind of not. I don't know, like, would you consider Colourpop drugstore? I personally do, kind of, because it's affordable. That's why I like to say affordable versus drugstore, because this is super cheap. I think it was like, I forget how much it was actually. Is it like $12 for this giant pan? I don't know. But drugstore is getting more expensive, so Colourpop is pretty much in that range. But this is the Soul Body brand, and this is the sister brand to Colourpop. This is their highlighter. It's called the Shimmering Body Powder, and this is in shade Platinum, and stunning. Absolutely stunning. So it's fragranced. So when you first get it, it's a really strong fragrance. It almost smells like the beach, like, or maybe a sunscreen kind of thing. It has that fake beachy smell. I don't know how to describe it. It still has a faint scent of that, but I've had it for a long time, so that scent kind of dissipates over time. But this is like a Super Shock shadow, but with more glitter. And it's a little bit thicker in consistency. You get a ton of product in here, but the reason that it's even further down from the top for me is because of that thicker formula. It doesn't translate as well onto the face as it does onto the body, but I think it's still a beautiful highlighter, so that's why it's coming in at number 9. So coming in at number 8, we have this this beauty from Wet n Wild. It is used and just chipped all over the place because of how many times I've taken it traveling. This is the Hello Halo blush lighter, and technically this could be in either category, a blush or a highlighter. It is perfectly named because you get these two beautiful shades here. This one obviously is more of your highlighter, and then this one's more of your blushy shade, at least on my skin tone. It's stunning. This formula is beautiful. It is glittery, but not too glittery. There's no thick chunks of glitter in it. It's just the perfect balance of metallic foiled highlight plus glitter. Like, you will not look at your cheek and be like, oh my god, I have glitter all over my face, but it does still have glitter in it. But it just catches the light so beautifully. It's actually a really nice and soft formula. It's not like mushy like a Super Shock shadow. It is still a powdery formula, but it's a smooth formula. I don't really know how to describe the texture of it. I don't know. It's just a nice smooth highlighter. I don't know. But I love that you get those two shades in here because I do take this blushier tone and I do sweep it over the cheeks over my blush, and it kind of makes this transition between your highlight that just looks natural and gorgeous. And then this shade is a little bit on the icier side, and it just gives a real punch to the highlight. But this is in shade Highlight Bling, and this was the perfect duo for me from this collection. So I just really love it. I reach for this constantly. I really do. I think this is my number 1 reach for product from Wet n Wild. And yeah, it's really good. If you find this, I would highly recommend grabbing it. Anything from like number 10 and up, I would immediately recommend you buy. The others are kind of a hit or miss. The Pixi one, I did want to say, it's beautiful, but it's a little bit more on the expensive side. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but you do get more products in there for it. So it's kind of a toss-up. If you need the blushes or you want to try their blush formula, it might be worth it, but just for the highlighter itself, it's a little on the expensive side. I never thought that this would be number 7 in my ranking video, because there was a time when this was my absolute favorite number 1 most used drugstore highlight in my collection by far, and nothing ever came close other than one particular product, which you could probably guess what it is because every beauty person on YouTube constantly talks about it. I'm looking at you, Colourpop. But this is from Revlon. This is their Revlon Skin Lights. It still says new. I love when drugstores do that because it's like a year and a half later and it's still new. But as you can tell from the outside, it's been places. I mean, look at how worn it is on the outside, and then the pan on the inside. This is gorgeous. If you never got the Amrizzi highlight like me, I was introduced to makeup but after the Amrizzi highlight from ABH, and I've heard that this is probably the closest dupe that people have found, and oh my god, it's beautiful. If the Amrizzi highlight is anything like this, I imagine that all of the hype is real. But this is cheaper, and it's still available, I think. But look at the, like, dragon scale embossment. That is so pretty. I haven't seen that in any other highlight that I have. I don't know. It's just the perfect smoothness. It is the best natural highlight that I would reach for without it being natural. I mean, if I want something that just looks like my skin is glowing and not glittery, this has no glitter in it at all. This is a metallic formula. I mean, it just looks like your skin is wet. Especially the shade is perfect for me. It's almost too dark, but it's not. It's just perfect, and I love it. It feels so good when you apply it. It's really smooth. You can really feel that like pearl in there. And it just goes on. I have a little bit on today, but I have mostly one other highlighter on. I put a lot of highlighter on today, okay? This one is, I mean, you won't be disappointed in this if you try it. It's so good. I think this is one of the only products I have from Revlon, and it's fantastic. I don't know. Nothing else from Revlon really caught my attention, but this one I immediately had to buy, and I saw it at a Kroger nonetheless. I found it at Kroger and I was like, I need this. But yeah, I do not regret it at all. All right, now we're getting into territory that is just kind of, everything in this is amazing. So it was really hard to rank. All right, so I'm gonna start with the one that's different from all the others. But the reason that it's in here is because I use this all the time, okay? It is absolutely worthy of all the praise. And that's why it's at number 6. But it is not a powder highlight. It's a liquid. And I guess you could kind of make the argument that it's not even a highlighter. It could be considered a primer. But I've used it as a highlight. I've used it as under my foundation. I've used it over my foundation. So this is from L'Oreal. This is their Lumi Glotion. It's their True Match Lumi Glotion. And this is in the shade Fair Glow 901. They actually have a bunch of different shades. This is really kind of similar vibes to the Charlotte Tilbury No Filter. Like, you can wear it underneath foundation and it just gives you a glow. And you can also wear it on top as a highlight. It has that same kind of feel to it. I don't know if I would consider this 100% dupe for that, but it definitely gives you a very similar effect for much less money. It's really, really good. It doesn't disturb my foundation if I put this on over it. Underneath foundation, it's even better. It just looks like your skin is just glowing from within. It's amazing. They have a bunch of different shades to choose from. It's kind of a flesh toned highlight, so it looks more natural on you. So that's why they have a bunch of different shades. So it's a glow enhancer and not technically a highlight. So I was debating on whether I should include it in this video, but it is from the drugstore and I do use it as a highlight. So there you go. But this is amazing. If you have not tried this yet, I highly recommend. And you get a ton in here. You get 1.35 fluid ounces in here. That will last you a whole long while. So definitely give this a try if you want something natural and glowy for the summer. It's really, really, really good. Some of these formulas are so similar that it's really hard to rank them because they're almost the exact same thing. I did the best I can, okay? So next up we have from Physicians Formula. I know it's a face palette, but we're talking about the highlighter in here. So this is a exclusive shade that comes in this palette. So this is their butter highlighter. So the shade is called Tropical Sands, but it is a beautiful highlighter. But I'm gonna be really careful when I open this because it will fall out. It is so fragile. Let me see if I can get it up in here. Do you see the space in between the pan? It actually will fall out. You see that? It's so soft. It feels exactly like a Super Shock shadow. It has that wet quality to it. It's like that cream to powder almost. But it is a fantastic highlighter. I love this whole palette. I mean, I use this palette all the time, and especially traveling, but this scares me. This makes me feel like it's gonna fall out, it's gonna get damaged, but I've used a ton of this. It looks so wet and beautiful on the skin. The shade is absolutely perfect for me. It's not icy, but it's also not too deep for me. It's like a perfect champagne shade for me. I really like it. And it feels almost exactly like a Colourpop Super Shock shadow. And that's exactly why I had a really hard time ranking this. And now we have number 4, and it's the Colourpop Super Shock Cheek. I don't know. The Super Shock shadows that go on your cheek. Yeah, the Super Shock highlighters. I don't know why I can't say it. It makes me really tongue twisted. But these are phenomenal. Oh my god, they're so good. They are just amazing. Honestly, if you got the Physicians Formula face palette, you would have pretty much a Colourpop Super Shock shadow in your collection. So I didn't know if I should include Colourpop in here because it's not technically a drugstore brand, even though it is affordable. So I would say, just as a heads up, if you can't find the Super Shock cheeks, if you can't find Colourpop near you, the Physicians Formula face palette, this is at Target and Walmart. That highlighter is exactly the same formula, almost. I mean, like, I wouldn't be able to, I could tell them apart just because I know them so well, but on the cheek, you would have no idea. But these are so freaking beautiful. So I have Flexitarian, which is like the main one that so many people were talking about forever on YouTube. And then I have one from their Villains collection. This is from the Maleficent collection that they did. And this is Mistress of All Evil. And this one is on the like rosy champagne side with a ton of glitter in it. It has blue and pink kind of reflex in there. It's amazing. It's so good. I don't know what to say. I mean, it has that soft, gushy quality as all the Super Shocks have. Even the shadows have that same quality. It just goes on the cheeks effortlessly. The shade is gorgeous. The glitter is amazing. And then Flexitarian, I used this as an inner corner highlight almost every day until I got my highlighter from Give Me Glow. That kind of replaced that as my inner corner. I have a little bit of that on today. But the one thing about these is they're so fragile. Look what happened to my poor little guy here. I've had to repress this so many times. It's shattered and I just have to keep repressing it. It's really fragile, so if you're taking it traveling, just be very careful with it. I would say some of my other highlights in here are better for traveling, but they're so nice. Just creamy and beautiful and blinding. I mean, did I mention blinding? Beam you up to space kind of blinding. They're so, so good. So yeah, Colourpop does get a lot of love for the Super Shock cheeks, so I'm not going to harp on it too much, but they're definitely worthy of the number 4 spot. Now, this was hard. Choosing my top 3. The top 3 part wasn't hard, but choosing in what order they go in was really hard because they all look almost identical. They all look so similar on the face. I mean, on swatches, you can tell a little hint of a difference, but up close, even the swatches, it's hard to tell. If I didn't know in what order they were swatched, I may not have any clue which one was which. And that's why I had to go with the one that was different for number 1. So these two are actually all 3 of these are brand new to my collection, and they have immediately become my top 3, which is insane to think about because I just got them maybe a week ago and I haven't been able to put them down. I mean, they've beat highlighters that have been in my collection forever, and it's not just because the formula is old, but even in its prime, the other highlighters did not compare to these. The Super Shock cheeks were very similar, but these are actually even better than those in my humble opinion. Okay, I'm just gonna go with it. So we have two from a brand that I just tried for the first time, and that would be Catrice. So Catrice was not available at the Ultas nearby. I have maybe 2 or 3 Ultas that I can get to pretty easily, and none of them have this brand. Why? I don't know. I've seen some people on YouTube talk about this brand, but I just didn't have it near me, so it was really hard to get. And then I finally found an Ulta that's a little bit further away, but I went there just for this. This is from Catrice, and I believe I saw this on Teresa's Dead's channel first, and that's what really got me interested. And then I believe I saw it on Andrea Mattiliano. I think that's how you say her name. But either way, they convinced me that I needed this. So this is from Catrice. This is the More Than Glow highlighter. First of all, embossing on point. Look at the flowers. So pretty, perfect for spring. This is in shade Supreme Rose Beam. I mean, come on. See that little dip in this pan? I've only had this a week, and I'm already making dents in here. That's how amazing this is. It's just so wet and blinding. The shade is a perfect mix of rosy and champagne for me, and I don't have to combine other highlighters to get this. It's all in one highlighter. It's really nice for travel. I have heard that these are also fragile, so be very careful with these as well, but they're less fragile than the Colourpop. So, I don't know. This is just the absolute perfect shade for me and my skin tone. I have it on today. It is gorgeous. It is blinding. She's so cute. She's beauty. She's grace. She's this bitch. I don't know. Yeah, this is really, really gorgeous. Now, I had a hard time between these two because they're from the same brand and they're very similar, but whichever you can find, I recommend. So this was the More Than Glow. This one is also from Catrice. This is called Sungasm, which, weird name, but beautiful product. So this is for face and body, which obviously you can use this highlighter on your body, but this one has such a huge pan. So just to compare, this one, the More Than Glow, has 0.20 ounces of product in it. Okay, cool. Like the Super Shock Cheek from Colourpop has 0.15 ounces. So this actually has more than a Super Shock Cheek, but this one right here, this Mac Daddy of a product right here, has 0.98 ounces of product in here. This is huge. Look at this. The pan, this is my head, this is the product. Almost as big as my head. But the quality is insane. It truly is. Look at that. Look at this highlight. It's definitely a little hint more champagne-y than the Rose Beam one, but formula is even more blinding than this one. And that's saying something because this one is really, really bright. But if I'm going for really high intensity, this one is insane. And I love that it has the huge amount of product in it because that means that I spent my money well. I love this highlight so much. It's obviously near the top of my ranking and it'll last me forever. So wow, okay, awesome. So I love that I could stick a big brush in here and coat my body in it for the summer. That's amazing. And I love this formula for my face as well. So it's a double whammy. And it's super fine. Like both of these from Catrice are super fine and they feel beautiful and smooth on the face and they just look so natural, but at the same time, really blinding. I don't know how to describe it. It's like if you naturally woke up and your face was just glowing, but like you can't see like just a straight line. It looks like my skin is just naturally beaming because I have such a beautiful, youthful glow. But these are in no way subtle. Just as a heads up. These are your blinding highlights. This one's a hair more subtle, but it's still really bright. But if you want blinding, this is your girl right here. But these do not have glitter in them. So at number 3 and number 2, we have Catrice with the More Than Glow at number 3 and the Sungasm at number 2. But really, they could just be interchangeable. They're very much tied. They're similar. These are almost exactly the same in formula. This one's just a hair more blinding, and that's why it has a little bit of a leg up. But these could just easily flip-flop. Okay, so we're at number 1. I feel like I've been talking forever. I'm sorry. But are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? What brand do you think is number 1? I'll give you a sec. I'll just give you a sec. All right, do you have it? Do you have it in your head? Do you? Did you think that it would be NYX? Does NYX even have highlighters, you might say? I didn't know. I've been doing makeup forever and I didn't realize that NYX had these. And I think it is brand new. I hope so, because otherwise I've been living under a rock. This is from NYX. This is their Born to Glow Duo, and it's their Icy Highlighter. This is in shade Platinum Status and Diamond Chains. Look at them. I don't think it's doing justice just seeing them in the pan. Like, you really have to see the swatches of these to know just how blinding they are. So it comes in a duo. So this one's more metallic and this one has the glitter in it. The glitter is stunning. I mean, it's a very fine glitter, but it is a little bit on the piecier side, as in if you swatch it, you'll notice what I'm talking about. Like, you'll have to kind of blow the swatch to get some of the glitter to fall away that's excess. And the face, I don't have that issue. So here are what the two look like. Obviously, this one right here is the metallic one, and this one right here is the glittery one. But they're so blinding and beautiful, and they melt into your skin so naturally. When you're swatching the glittery one, a bunch of glitter flies away, and you would think that would deter me from putting it as number 1. But no, alas. On the face, I don't have that issue. The glitter just melts into your skin and leaves this beautiful glittery highlight. But I love most of all about this is it's customizable. You can stick with the metallic side, or you could add some glitter on top, or you could just go with glitter. You could just add the glitter to your body and then do the metallic on the face. I mean, you have so many options with this. If you're not feeling the glitter that day, which I don't know why you wouldn't, just from my opinion, just from my experience, I don't know why you wouldn't want glitter on all over your body, but to each their own, right? So you can have that metallic side and that's it, and you just stop there, or you add the glittery side on top of it and just take it to the next dimension. I mean, I think this speaks for itself. Some people might think this is too much highlight. I say, no. This is just the right amount. But that is my ranking for today. This was number 1. Let me know. Maybe, I hope my swatches do this justice on how absolutely stunning this is. On all of these, honestly. I really hope that it comes across. But NYX really just came in with this one and was like, you know what? Move aside, everyone. I'm here. Because honestly, I will reach for this over my Flexitarian. This is in the order of what I'm going to be reaching for it in. Like from 1 being I'm going to reach for it the most, to 15 being I'm not going to reach for it at all. Like I'm going to have to actively make myself use it. This is just amazing. Obviously number 2 and 3 I'm going to get a lot of use out of. Obviously number 4 and 5 I'm also going to get great use out of. And the other ones I still love, I still use, but just not as much as my top favorites right now, honestly. Like I have really struggled to use anything else other than the NYX and the Catrice for a while now. They are the newest in my collection, which is part of it, but at the same time the formula is just unmatched. The drugstore has stepped it up, okay? The drugstore is coming for these luxury brands. I love the Natasha Denona Super Glow Highlighter, and wow, does it have a similar effect with the Catrice. Is it an exact dupe? No, the shade is not the same. It's not an exact dupe to the NYX either, but I get even more of a glow, or equal to Natasha Denona, for much cheaper. Yes, drugstore makeup has become more expensive recently, but the formulas are also rivaling your favorite luxury brands. So it's kind of a trade-off. Which would you prefer? I don't know. That's a question for another video. But thank you so much for watching. What is your favorite highlighter in your collection from the drugstore or an affordable brand? I know Colourpop is like, it's a drugstore, whatever. Please let me know if there is one that I have not tried yet that I need to. Was something not in my ranking video that you're like, oh my god, girl, you need to try this. If you like this, you're gonna love this. I would love to hear your suggestions. Let me know if you like this style of video as well. I would be happy to do this style of video with any other category you would like, but I would be happy to go over my favorites from the drugstore and from high-end for other categories too, if that would be something that you'd like to see. Please do remember to like and subscribe to join this little family here on YouTube. I will be posting more content very frequently now, so do be on the lookout for that. And I hope you're having an amazing day or night wherever you are. Please stay happy, safe, and healthy in this crazy time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.